I'm just going to go back to doing full-length videos, even though I get literally 0 views. Because when you get views on a short, it's basically just an illusion. Like, when you get 100 views on a short, that's like the equivalent of getting 0 on a real video. Or it's probably an even worse performance. Well, is that possible to have a worse performance than 0? But I'd say the ratio to even have the equivalence of like a couple of views on a real video would be maybe like thousands of views on a short. Because I think what happens is they just pop those shorts up in front of people, and you get a view on autoplay before they even have the opportunity to click off of it. That's the majority of your views on shorts when you're someone like me. Versus a real video, they have to click on it. So I got seduced by seeing some views, because it's like, it just feels a little bit better that you got 100 views rather than 0 views. And that makes the shorts more attractive. But the big thing for me that I don't like about it is that it gives me some kind of false hope, and just like feeds into my depression. Like, oh, maybe some people, actually watched me and liked me or something, but not really. So it's for me, it's better for my mental health to just do these ones where I get 0 views and I just, there's no roller coaster ride. I just know what it is. And then somehow I have 25 subscribers, and that's a pitifully small number, but it's even less significant than it seems. Because if you look at some channels, basically people will just subscribe like on a whim, and they're not like a real follower of yours. I think that most people that hit the subscribe button end up never watching another video that you put out. They were just like, oh, I'll support this guy, I'll hit subscribe, and that's it. Because I noticed, I noticed on other people's channels too, but I noticed that I did a gaming channel one time a few years ago, and that was the most quote-unquote successful I've ever been on YouTube, but it wasn't successful. I had like 500 subscribers or something, and but the problem was getting more subscribers didn't increase my views. There's like, that's not really the way YouTube works anymore anyway. You don't really get your views from subscribers. Subscribers are actually kind of pointless. It's more of just like a vanity stat. It doesn't really translate to views. Not the way the algorithm works now. I think like when YouTube first came out, that was kind of the concept, that it was like going to be like communities where, most of your subscribers were most of the people watching your videos, but that's just not the case anymore. Because like my subscribers would go up, but my views really wouldn't go up. And like I've seen people that have like a lot of subscribers, but their views are like pitiful. Like, I don't know what happens with that. I'm not into this whole conspiracy theory about the algorithm that like, oh, my content is awesome, but the algorithm's just screwing me over. No, I do think that like the algorithm is rewarding, not necessarily good content, because that's in the eye of the beholder, but I think it is rewarding content that gets clicks and watch time and stuff. But I just wonder, not from an algorithm standpoint entirely, but from the standpoint of like, what the hell was this particular content creator doing that changed his fortune so much? Because I've seen a couple of channels that have like a lot of views, like not a lot of views, like a lot of subscribers, like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but as far as views, their channel's basically dead. They only get like hundreds of views, and that to me is like, how's that even possible? Like, that's the only time I start to think of like, what is up with the algorithm, where the algorithm has deemed this channel to be crap to the point where they just won't even put their videos out there, it seems. and yet they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Like, what happened there? You know? What were they doing right that got hundreds of thousands of subscribers? And then what were they doing? What did they start doing wrong where the algorithm, which is basically the audience, just decided to stop watching their videos basically entirely? And but all these people subscribe. That's why the subscribe number is like pointless, because people just subscribe and then just forget about it. They don't even bother to go back and unsubscribe. The only time someone unsubscribes is when they're actually like offended by something you said, and they make it a point like, this motherfucker, I'm gonna go in here and unsubscribe to show him, you know? But people, short of that, they just subscribe and forget about it, but they have no intention of ever watching you again, you know? So, and that's why the like sub for sub thing is pointless. Like, what is that doing for you? You got a bunch of subs that aren't going to watch your videos. So what? And I don't know. It's like the chances of success are so small that you don't even want to try, because that's going to be even worse, you know? Like, you put in all this money and effort to like set up a little studio, you know, which would, your studio would probably be like in the corner of your bedroom or whatever. But, you know, you do it up to make it look like a studio and stuff. And you even try to like, you know, do a little bit of show prep, whatever, you know, topic you're working on, whatever you want your channel to be about. Say it's about politics or something. So you do, you know, you go on, you check out what's going on in politics on the web or on YouTube, and, you know, you make some notes, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You know, you do show prep, you get ready for your show, and you actually try to have like a plan set out. You try to have some kind of professional product. You do your show, you edit it, you actually make a thumbnail, all that, and you throw that on there, and you still get 0 views. And that's like worse, you know? That's more soul crushing. At least this situation, I'm just saying, hey, fuck it, I'm not getting any views, I don't care, I'm not even trying to get views. So, you know what I mean? So, not to say I haven't tried to some extent, but I don't know, I'm just like, you know, I'm just at a point in my life where I'm not really even capable of putting in much of an effort anyway. I'm just like a depressive, anxiety-ridden, addictive kind of person that, you know, just basically is trying to get from day to day. For me to put in this huge effort to make a YouTube channel, even though, like, I'd like to, you know, but it sucks. It sucks when you're like not good at stuff, you know? Like, you see all these people, because one thing I would like to make is like, I would either like to do history or politics. And I see these other people doing it, and there's part of me that thinks like, oh, I know as much as they do. And I think that part might be true. I might know as much as they do about those two topics. But I don't have the work capacity to do all the research that they do. And all the editing, and like, you know, I like the attention span. Like, I've just destroyed my attention span by being addicted to like games and YouTube and stuff. Like, for me to just sit there for hours a day creating a proper product, I just don't think I'm capable of doing that anymore. You know, there was a time when I was, you know, when I was an officer in the Army, but that still was never like my strength. Like, there were these PowerPoint warriors. I don't know, you're not going to know what these terms mean if you've never been in the Army, but there were these like S3 officers that like their whole job was to sit there and make like PowerPoint decks, and they would just sit there and meticulously for hours on end work on these beautiful PowerPoint presentations. And I always just marveled at these things. Like, I could never do that, you know? I was good at command because I'm a decisive, kind of hard-nosed sort of person. I'm from Boston, you know? Like, I make sure shit gets done. Like, it doesn't matter how many eggs I have to break, the mission's getting done. You know what I'm saying? That's more of my personality. But being able to just sit there and, like, work on a fucking slide deck for 8 hours a day, you know, I just never had the attention span for that. But I did have the attention span where I could work on things. Obviously, I could do large projects, but now I couldn't. I mean, I could do my best. I mean, I really could just do it just for the love of doing it, but then I can't, because it hurts me too much to not be successful at stuff. Because I've done that before. I've started off like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this for the love of doing it. And then like the first video gets like 0 views, and I'm just like, oh my God, I fucking hate YouTube. I hate the viewers. I hate myself above all. This is just, the only good thing about this, if you happen to stumble upon this, is this is just 100% honesty. I don't have to be phony, because yeah, that would be part of it. Like all this stuff I'm saying, all this kind of like angst and self-analysis and putting my true feelings out there, that would all have to go if I were to make a YouTube channel, because it's not helpful. Nobody wants to hear any of this stuff. So the only good thing about this, where I'm just talking to the camera just to talk into the camera, the only thing good thing about it is I can just tell you the absolute truth. This is what goes through my mind. You can tell me whether the same kind of shit goes through your mind, you have the same issues, or whether you think I'm completely nuts, which that's probably more likely. I haven't generally gotten along with most people that I've met in life. Most people haven't agreed with me, so I'm guessing that you disagree with a lot of what I'm saying, but that's fine. This is just a window into me. I wish it were different. I wish I believed that I was going to be successful on YouTube, and I had the attention span and the motivation, and I guess just like the cognitive ability. Maybe, I don't know, that might be too harsh. I might have the cognitive ability, but sometimes it feels like I don't in my old age. But yeah, I mean, I wish I really felt like I could do it, and I wish I actually could do it. But unfortunately, it's just not the case. And, the numbers don't lie. Most people are not going to be successful on YouTube. The overwhelming majority of people. And like I've said in other videos, we're at the point now where rich people and famous people have figured out how much money you can make on YouTube. So basically, like, every famous person has some kind of podcast now, because why wouldn't they? I mean, if I was some famous person and it was like, I could literally, if I was famous, I could just do this and make millions of dollars extra. Wouldn't even like interfere with my main, income source. Like, say I'm an NBA basketball player and I make millions of dollars. Why wouldn't I just for like 10 minutes a night get on YouTube, and people will just click on my videos just because I'm who I am? Like, say I'm LeBron James. It's like free money. Why wouldn't you do it? But the point I'm making is, because famous and rich people have figured that out, they've left no room for regular people. It's now very difficult for a regular person to be successful on YouTube. And then, like, I'm not good looking. I don't have any particular, specialized knowledge that I can share. I'm not a charlatan. I couldn't be. I don't have the skill to be a charlatan, but I also, that's against my ethics. Like, there's certain things you could do. I couldn't do it. I'm just not a good enough liar, and I'm not charismatic enough. But let's just say I was. There's all kinds of like just ridiculous stuff. I could just become like one of these like keto gurus, or whatever other snake oil you can think of. There's millions of ideas of snake oil you can sell, and most people are idiots. Like, you'll find plenty of people. I mean, look at how many people watch Candace Owens. The woman is clinically insane. She just comes up with like ludicrous conspiracy theories, and she's got millions of people that love it. They eat it up, So if you have what it takes, the opportunities are definitely there, but I just don't, and maybe you can relate, because most likely you probably don't either. So, because it's not just me like putting myself down. It's like the majority of people, 99% of people, don't have what it takes to make money on YouTube. I think the only sad thing is the unrealistic expectations that some people have. Like I've read that the number one dream of like young people of a job to have is a YouTube creator. And it's like, yeah, the other ones in the past were pretty unrealistic too. Like in the past, they probably would have said like doctor or movie star or something like that. And it's like, most people aren't going to be a doctor or a movie star. So I guess it's not that much different, but like the YouTube thing, that is like really tiny odds, man. Like I can fairly confidently say that you're not going to be a YouTube star. You know, if there's a kid saying that's what they want to be when they grow up, it's like, yeah, no. Yeah. If you happen to be the one in the million, then I'll just take the L. But I'm taking the odds of 999,999 to 1 that it's not going to be you, you know. But yeah, that's it. Pretty negative, you know. I mean, I am pretty negative. It's something I try to, you know, there are positives that I try to focus on. But yeah, that's just not my mindset right now as I make this video. So I mean, yeah, it is amazing that I have 25 subscribers, but like I said, it's meaningless. Like I bet you not a single one of those 25 subscribers watched a single video beyond the one that they subscribed. And when they did subscribe, it was probably only because it was either A, out of sympathy, or B, it might have been like they agreed with one particular thing I said in a video, you know, because I make all kinds of political videos on shorts. And it might have been just, you know, they're like, they very much identify with my partisan politics, and they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I agree with that, and they hit the subscribe. But it's more of just like a show of support of that particular viewpoint. It wasn't an indication that they're ever going to watch my videos again. You know, that, like I said, repeating myself, but that's really not how subscribers work anymore. Anyway, I'm going to go in and do my workout. And if you do happen to be seeing this, then I appreciate it, because if you are watching this, you're probably the only person that's watching it. So if you do see the end of this video, if you could put a comment down and say Finism Flam, because I just want to do an experiment to see if anyone ever watches this video or ever makes it to the end. So Finism Flam, that's the code that would let me know that somebody on this planet actually watched this video to the end. That'd be pretty cool, honestly. I mean, yeah, it's not the millions of views I would need to make even $1,000 or something, but it would still be cool that somebody actually watched the video to the end. All right, I'm gonna keep doing these videos just because I'm lonely and I just want to do them. So I'll see you tomorrow.